Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today I have the RockyMounts GuideRail Two-Bike Rack, and we'll take a look at how it fits our 2022 Jeep Wagoneer. So the GuideRail is usually one of my preferred bike racks because it's a dual wheel mount style bike rack, which you can check out the comparison of that here at etrailer. And that makes it quicker and easier to carry around bikes, mount them and dismount them. Now, with how it fits on the Wagoneer, there's some perks and some downsides to it too. Perks are you do have the premium qualities you'd expect from a premium rack, like a heavy weight capacity. Downside is that it sits really high up on the Wagoneer. But on another hand, you also have the features like it tilts away and it actually clears the Wagoneer's big hatch. So when you pull the lever and tilt it down, let's take a look at how it clears. It's gonna be close, so I will show you some measurements in a bit. But opening up the door, it clears our pedals and our handlebars. And even if I had the longer handlebars, we'd still be good to get into the hatch and put away our groceries, grab our waters, our helmets. I'd say switch out our shoes, but it's a little high up for that. And closing it, it does come close enough where it makes the Wagoneer think about it. So you may have to manually close your hatch door. But once you've done that, I recommend holding on mainly to the bike rack and then using your bikes just as a slight support to lift it up. It snaps into place, and now we're ready to hit the road. So what types of bikes can you carry with this rack? Well, that dual wheel mount design allows for pretty much any bike, as it secures it by the wheels. There's zero frame contact, so whether you have a step-through bike or some children's bikes or an alternate frame bike, it doesn't matter. Now, in order to take the bikes off though, you do have these quick and easy to use levers. So what I do is first, I press on the lever to make it easier to disengage, and then I flip it open. So do that on the other side too. Press the lever and then flip it open. And that way, as you're holding on to the bike, you can either push the lever out or just push it down with your hands. I like to go all the way down where if I have heavy electric bikes, it just makes it easier to maneuver. So not exactly like a ramp, but at least you're not trying to get past anything. While we're here though, before we take the bike off, look at how high the bike sits. That's because the Wagoneer already has a really tall hitch, and then the guide rail sits even further up. So that makes the trays at a position where it's a little tricky to get those bikes up there, especially when they're heavy. So speaking of the trays, look there at the little grooves it has. That's for the different tire widths. Whether you have a thin road bike or a wider tire on a mountain bike, the maximum tire width this can carry is going to be up to 3 inches. When you're ready to secure your bike rack, flip the lever back in and listen for the click right there. See how far away that mount is? That's because the maximum wheelbase this can carry is 55 inches, which is actually very impressive for a bike rack, because as mountain bikes are getting longer and longer for their wheelbases, the bike racks need to accommodate them too, which the RockyMounts GuideRail does. Let's talk about measurements. So we'll actually start with ground clearance, because you saw just now how high that bike was. So from the top tray to the ground, 34 inches. Bottom tray to the ground, 31 inches. That's how high you're lifting your 60-pound bikes up to get onto the rack. So on one hand, it's nice that this mast goes, or the mount goes all the way down to make it easier to lift them. But on the other hand, it's still a lot of height. Next measurement is going to be the length. So from bumper to the end of the rack, 32 inches. That's how much space this will take up behind your vehicle. If you have a small garage, while you have a larger vehicle, you might be a little starved for space. That's a measurement to know. Next thing you can do though is make this a bit more compact. So pull the lever at the end of the rack, lift up, snaps into place. Quick measurement here is bumper, end of rack, 15 inches. So definitely a more portable position This is how you'll have it when you're just driving around town. You don't want to have to take your bike rack off, but you also want it ready to go when you want to load up the bikes. But what is it like living with it behind your vehicle? Well, notice here how our rear window is visible. Tail lights are visible too. They sit up above the bike rack. Now, the license plate is slightly covered, and so is the backup camera. The backup camera sits right above that handle there. So what's going to happen is when you go into reverse, your visibility will be a little bit covered. You might be able to see around the bike rack, but if that slightly decreases visibility is a big issue for you, you could just go ahead and drive around with it in the down position. With all that being said, this fits into your 2-inch hitch receiver, and you do have a lock for this rack for both your bikes as well as the bike rack. If you are looking for alternatives for those heavy electric bikes, maybe you realize I can't lift my bike 31 inches up onto the rack, then an alternative you might be interested in is the Hollywood Rack's Destination E. That one has a tilt that does clear the hatch on the Wagoneer, and it has an included ramp. It also has a really good weight capacity for heavy bikes. The downside to the Destination E is there's a lot more straps and levers you're going to have to deal with versus the GuideRail, which is a very quick and easy 1, 2, your bike is set. So hopefully this video helped you out. This was a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail 2-Bike Platform Rack, and we saw it on the 2022 Jeep Wagoneer.
We're going to take it out here on the test course. First thing we're going to do is hit the bumps. We're just going to see what it's like if we did hit some speed bumps. I'm watching the bike, watching how it holds on the tires. It looks like it moves just a little bit, not too much. This is mostly standard with other bike racks, so nothing to worry about. The bike doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Now we're going to go a little bit faster in the parking lot. I'm going to take some aggressive turns and see how it handles there. Looks like it's fine. I see a little movement again, but again, the bike's not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about it.